Hello and welcome once again to the video. In this one I'm continuing my look at all of the Formula One Grand Prix programs that I've accumulated over the years, going to many Grand Prix. I think so far in this series I've done the 87 British Grand Prix, 88 British Grand Prix, 89 British Grand Prix, 1990 British Grand Prix and 1990 Australian Grand Prix. Now, I have been to Australia, but I didn't go to the 1990 Australian Grand Prix, but somehow, I can't remember how, I ended up with that programme. Not sure how, but anyway, I'd already done a video on that one. So today, it's the 1991 British Grand Prix, a very hot, sunny day, just like the 1990, the terrifyingly traumatic 1990 British Grand Prix because of what happened to Mansell, but this was a lot more different. I know we got Prost in the centre there, but it wasn't Prost that won the race, it was Mansell that won the race in his Williams, easily. Now, I've not opened this program for many years, maybe decades, going back to 1991, possibly even. So, is it in focus? Let me just check. I think it's in focus. So, it'll be interesting to see what's in here. Probably nothing too exciting. Here you can see all the Grand Prix. So it was the UK Grand Prix, 16 there would have been back then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, the standard 16 races that we had for many years on the trot, with the British Grand Prix always right in the middle, just after the French and just before the German, always. Okay, so let's open this up. 14th of July 1991. Oh, that's interesting. I'm actually recording this on the 14th of July. So there you go. 34 years ago. 34 years ago today. I know I'm not releasing it on the 14th, but I'm recording on. Oh, that's damaged down there, the spine. Advanced bookings. Oh, advanced bookings for the 1990 British Grand Prix. Adult admission. How much is it? Just tells you what you can get off. £10 off that, £5 off. Back then it was about by 1991, I think it was about £60 for general admittance. 3 years earlier, in 1988, it was £20 for general admittance. I don't know what the grandstand ticket was. I did go in 1992 as well. Let's put that over there. So let's just see what's happening here. We've got the usual chit chat from the FIA boss, which was Jean-Pierre Balestre back then. Jean-Marie Balestre, sorry, not Jean-Pierre, Jean-Marie Balestre. And also a forward by Prince Michael of Kent. Oh, look at that beautiful McLaren. My word, look at that. Look at that picture. There's Senna in his McLaren, dearie me. Oh, look at the streamline. There's no fiddly bits, it's so smooth. No fiddly stuff. This is when cars look their best, basically. The late 80s, early 90s. Cars looked fantastic. Look at that. I know I keep staying on it, don't I? I want to get that into focus a little bit, but that's amazing. It's fantastic. Okay, so moving on. Patrese, as it's testing times. This must have been testing just prior to. Yeah, 4 days of weather-affected Formula One testing at Silverstone. in June. Patrese, he was going very well, I remember, in the early part of 1991. Patrese was doing well. He won the Mexican Grand Prix in 1991, but that was only because Mansell had a problem with his car. And I did a video on that Grand Prix. Wow, that was amazing. Patrese had a 30-second lead over his teammate Mansell because of some issue Mansell had with his gears or throttle or something. And then halfway through the race, the problem cleared itself. Mansell speeded up, closed that half-a-minute gap to his teammate, setting fastest lap after fastest lap, and crossed the line just 1 second behind Patrese. One more lap, and he would have had Patrese. Touring cars, blah blah blah. Eddie Jordan. Look at that, Grand Prix Racing's newest team patron, Eddie Jordan. Yes, because he just started the Jordan team in 1991. Form guide, yeah, here we go, look, form guide. So this is what they had done so far. Senna had been first, retired, third, and the French result, as ever with these programs, was not in because the French Grand Prix was always 1 week before the British Grand Prix, so the results were never in for that. Then you can see Mansell down here, retired, second in that in Monaco, got past Prost in a very good overtaking manoeuvre at the swimming pool, I remember, to finish second in that race, second to Senna. Not to be confused with when he was second to Senna the following year in that very tight finish in 1992. This is 1991. Then he retired from Canada when his engine turned off. Jury's still out as to how the engine was turned off. Was it Mansell that turned it off by mistake, or was it a problem with the car? We don't know. And then a second place in Mexico. That was the one where Patrese won by a second. Really, it should have been a win for Mansell, but Mansell always had unreliability, or had reliability issues all the time throughout his career. And apart from the first half of 1992, which he basically dominated, which allowed him to win that championship. So there you go. So he didn't have many points. He only had, in Canada, even though he retired, he got 1 point because he retired on the last lap, and there were only 5 drivers on the lead lap. So he picked up 6th place, 1 point. So he had 13 points. But Ayrton Senna had 10, 20, 30, 40, 44 points going into the French Grand Prix, that is. But in the French Grand Prix, Mansell won. He won the French Grand Prix. And Senna, where was Senna? Was he? I think he was 3rd again in the French Grand Prix, wasn't he? This was also the first year that they went from 9 points for a win to 10 points for a win. It took 4 races for anyone to break Ayrton Senna and McLaren's stranglehold on the 1991 season. That was unprecedented. To win the first 4 races was a record that Senna did that year. However, that was broken the very following year by Mansell winning the first 5 races. But you didn't tend to get that sort of dominance back then because retirement tended to get in the way of a string of victories on the trot. Benettons there. The team that is now Alpine, basically. That's the 2 Benettons. Known as the Enstone team, because that's where they've been based all this time. Now, this is the British Grand Prix, all the winners of the British Grand Prix since 1948. The championship didn't start till 1950, though. Mansell had already clocked up 2 wins in 86 and 87. He would clock up 2 more in 91 and 92. And of course in 85 he won in Britain, but it was the European Grand Prix at Brands Hatch. He didn't win the British Grand Prix. So here's a map. Now look, this shows you, I showed this on my last video, the 1991. I showed the same map. So it's in very good condition, isn't it? It's upside down. It's in very good condition, considering how old this thing is, but I never open it, you see. Now, I used to like to hang out sometimes at Stowe. In 1991, where was I? I think in 1991 I was up here, I think, just before Maggots, or was I by Chapel? Possibly. I might have been on the Hanger Straight even, but I wasn't at Stowe, which is where I was in 1990. See, now you've got all this infield section, comes up and then it comes into here and it goes sort of all down here somewhere. This is around up here somewhere, and then comes up along the Wellington Straight. I always remember the name of that, always forget the name of that straight. Wellington Straight up here, which then goes into what is called Hamilton Straight now. Unless Hamilton Straight is after Woodcote Corner now, I don't know. Anyway, that's how the circuit is now. This is how it was back then. I think 91 was the first year of, was that the first year that we had Beckett's? Before that it was just Maggots and then Chapel. And they added in the Beckett's bit in the middle. And they added in this bit as well, which I don't think was there before, was it? Or was it? Maybe it was. No, I think that was an add-on at some point, you know. And this used to be completely straight along there. And when I went in 88, 89 and 90, it was completely straight along there. So yeah, they made these changes in 91. See up there it says British Grand Prix 1992, but this is in the British Grand Prix. Yeah, because it's saying date provisional, so it's advertising the 1992 British Grand Prix. Well, that's interesting. This is the lap chart. I never do the lap chart because Mansell wins the French Grand Prix. See, so this one is up to date with all the points, the correct points, because this is a little one that they do after the French Grand Prix. And so this is up to date. Senna 48 points, Mansell 23, Patrese 22, Prost 17. Senna with a huge lead. 10 points for a win, remember? Used to be 9 prior to this. But yeah, and then you have the lap chart, but I don't do the lap chart because I prefer to watch the race instead. If you do the lap chart, you spend all your time scribbling away, trying to just desperately write stuff down. But you see, there was no internet back then, so you couldn't just get all this information easily. If you wanted it, you had to record it. But look at that, look, lap charts for all of the races. Unbelievable, look. Until you get all the way to the British Grand Prix. And you've got the lap chart there. Look at all the drivers. Ayrton Senna, Gerhard Berger, Satoru Nakajima, Stefano Modena, Nigel Mansell, Riccardo Patrese, Martin Brundle, Mark Blundell, Michele Alboreto, Stefan Johansson, Mika Häkkinen, Johnny Herbert, Olivier Griard, Maurizio Gugelmin, Ivan Capelli, Gabriele Tarquini, Fabrizio Barbazza, Roberto Moreno, Nelson Piquet, Emanuele Pirro, JJ Leto, Pierluigi Martini, Gianni Morbidelli, Thierry Boutsen, Eric Comas, Alain Prost, Jean Alesi, Eric Bernard, Aguri Suzuki, Pedro Chavez, Bertrand Gaccio, Andrea De Cesaris, Nicola Larini and Eric van der Poel. 35 drivers. I didn't realise we had pre-qualifying in 1991. I know we had it in 89. I didn't know we also had it in 91. Anyway, so there's that. That's a nice handy little booklet, that is, with the map on the back. Look at that, it's beautiful. It's like a little mini program, you see. It's nice, isn't it? Okay, look at that, the red and white of Ayrton Senna and Gerhard Berger. Look at that car. What an absolutely glorious looking car that is. This is the Tyrrell. The Tyrrell, which now Tyrrell is the current Mercedes. Tyrrell became BAR, wasn't it? BAR. BAR became Honda. Honda became Braun. Braun became Mercedes. So this Tyrrell, old famous team that won championships, is what the current Mercedes is. And interestingly, look, it was sponsored by Braun. Different Braun to the Braun that the team owner Braun, of course. So there you go. Look at the Williams, beautiful again. The yellow, blue, and red and white Williams. Brabham, the old championship winning team Brabham, but hadn't won a championship since the Nelson Piquet days in the early 80s. There's a fresh-faced Martin Brundle up there. And then we got the footwork. Didn't really do much. And then we got the Lotus. By then was a spent force. There's Johnny Herbert, two-time champion Mika Hakkinen. Stefan Johansson, Michele Alboreto, nearly won the 85, well I say nearly, he was a contender for the 85 championship. Fond Metal, Leighton House. These guys were good, Ivan Capelli and Maurizio Gugelmin. What happened to Maurizio Gugelmin in the end? Trying to think what happened to him. I know he had no, that was Carl Wendlinger who had the big accident at Monaco, wasn't it? What happened to Maurizio? Did he just fade away? But he was fantastic back then. Ivan Capelli had a rough ride at Ferrari, I think in 92 or 93 was it? Tarquini and Barbazza. Yeah, neither of those did much in the AGS, which wasn't great. Benetton, Nelson Piquet. And yeah, three-time champion, and Roberto Moreno, and it was Roberto Moreno's seat later on in the year that was given to Michael Schumacher, when Michael Schumacher impressed massively in the Jordan, in the Belgian Grand Prix in 1991. Benetton came along and nicked him from Jordan and booted out Moreno to make way for Schumacher. I don't know how they were able to do all of that, but money talks, I guess. Scuderia Italia, known as Dallara. The Minardi team. Now, the Minardi team is the current Racing Bull, basically. Because Minardi, when Red Bull came into the team, into the Formula One in 2005, they created their own team, but they also bought Minardi, turned it into AlphaTauri, or Toro Rosso, which then became AlphaTauri, which then became Racing Bull, current Racing Bull. And Martini, he raced, never really did anything in Formula One, but he raced for Minardi for about 45 years or something. He was there every year. Thierry Boutsen, very good in when he was comfortable. He was very good. He was very good in the Benetton. Here he's in a Ligier, but he was extremely good when he was racing in the Benetton earlier. Eric Comas. That's a beautiful 91 Ferrari. I think it's possibly my favourite ever looking Formula One car. It's an absolutely incredible car, the 91 Ferrari. Jean Alesi, Alain Prost. God dear, what a fantastic car. Beautiful. Jean Alesi was actually offered the Williams drive before they gave it to Mansell, but when Mansell left Ferrari, Alesi couldn't resist going to Ferrari, which had always been his dream. But he could have, you never know, he could have been world champion had he gone to Williams. But he went with his heart. See, that's the original layout of Silverstone. Stowe, Club, just a straight line. That would be Abbey, wouldn't it? And then you're straight up to the chicane just before going into Woodcote and Copse. You see, none of that infield bit. Look, I much prefer it like that, simpler. And then you've got, that would be, what's it called now? I've forgotten what it's called now. Oh, I could look on the map. It's right here, isn't it? Oh yeah, Chapel Curve. So you've got Maggot's Curve, Chapel Curve. But yeah, now you've got Beckett's that goes like that. And the start-finish straight now is sort of down here, isn't it? Instead of there, which I still struggle to get used to. LaRousse. When I'm doing the F1 game, I still make the mistake quite often of, I go across the start-finish straight, which is down here now. I know this isn't the modern circuit, but it's a bit similar. There's the first corner that goes into the new infield bit. And I keep thinking that is Copse, because I've just gone through the start-finish line. And then I have this fast sweeping right-hander, which is very similar to the fast sweeping right-hander at Copse. So sometimes I go through Copse thinking it's turn 1, and then I'm suddenly taken by surprise by Maggots and Beckett's, and I'm all over the place trying to go through there because it's taken me by surprise because I thought I was over here. I keep getting that mixed up on the game. Caloni. Yep, didn't do much. Jordan, there you go, there's the Jordan. In Formula 1 for the first time, Bertrand Gaccio and Andrea de Cesaris. And it was Gaccio's seat. He got into a little bit of trouble with the law. And his seat had to be given to the new guy, Michael Schumacher. And for the Belgian Grand Prix that year. Nicola Larini. The actual race itself was quite a straightforward race. Mansell just completely dominated in his Williams. And at the end, Ayrton Senna's car sort of started to conk out, didn't it? I think he still finished third. I think Senna still finished because it ran out of fuel on the slowdown lap, I believe, fortunately for him. So he still finished third, and then Mansell picked him up as Senna jumped onto the side of Mansell's Williams to get a lift back to the pits, which was breaking every rule in the book, of course. But anyway. So now we're just doing all the stuff that I'm less interested in. It's all the tin top stuff. It's Formula 3, making a good impression. David Coulthard and Rubens Barrichello are the main title contenders in British Formula 3 this year. Last year's champion, Mika Häkkinen, talking to Rubens Barrichello. I remember Coulthard and Barrichello fighting for that title. Was it Barrichello that won it in the end? I can't remember. John Cleland there. Blah, 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 blah. See, that's interesting, these little things. These people have made little notes. This guy has Pierre's Honeyset. Pierre's Honeyset, not Pierre's. Pierre's Honeyset. And he's put, look, second, brake hard. 140 miles per hour down there. And they memorise what gear to be in. all that sort of stuff. In his touring car, I think that was. And they've all done it now. And a beautiful Spitfire. No, that's that Spitfire, or is that Hurricane? I think that's a Spitfire. See quite a lot of them around my area. The red arrows. There's a lot of two-seater Spitfires I see because of people paying to go up in a two-seater Spitfire. Okay, so there you go. There you have it, and there it is. It was a great result because it was a win for Mansell again, having won the French Grand Prix the previous week, and then 2 weeks later he won the German Grand Prix as well. So he'd suddenly won 3 races on the trot, and a gap which had been nearly 40 points at one point. At one point it was 34 points because Senna had won 4 races and Mansell just had won second place. So it was a 34-point gap. It came down to just 8 points after the German Grand Prix. However, reliability would then start to play for Mansell again. The Hungarian Grand Prix he finished second to Senna. No reliability issues, he was just second. And then the following race in Belgium, Mansell was in the lead, heading for victory, and then retired. A 12-point lead for Senna became 22-point lead, and Mansell was unable to pull that back sufficiently before the end of the year. So reliability cost Mansell that championship, but Senna deserved it as well. They both deserved it, basically, the 1991 championship. But there you go, that's the British Grand Prix. Quite a flat and uninteresting race, but of course I loved the result of Mansell winning the Grand Prix easily. Okay, there you are. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so, or leave a like, or leave a comment, or leave a tip on the thanks button underneath the video. But thank you basically for watching, and I will see you in the very next video, hopefully. Thank you, and goodbye for now.